big question, especially for Christians, is this: are UFOs for real? In a manner of speaking, yes. One cannot deny either the numerous sightings or the miles of video presented by normally competent professional people. UFO stands for unidentified flying object. Whether or not a UFO is from outer space is another question entirely. I find it particularly interesting that this latest crop of UFO stories paints them as benevolent guardians. I believe UFOs are real and that their source is supernatural, but not from some distant galaxy as usually presumed. The Bible speaks of fallen angels or demons that have great powers. It reveals that apart from divine restraint, they can manifest themselves in a human form and materialize advanced vehicles. Prophecy predicts that God's restraint of those malevolent people will be removed in the last days.
Then what?
Then I think
is he rational?
It seems to me that we work more closely with the NATO members.
Right.
We move forward
But
with
don't you think the
Georgia.
president's trying to do that? Work more closely with the NATO members?
I don't see any real indication of it. If you're flying MRE, if you refuse to fly MREs in because it's, quote, provocative, I don't think they're doing a hell of a lot.
Yeah. In other words, you don't worry about being provoking. You don't worry about provoking Vladimir Putin.
Does Vladimir Putin need to be provoked? It's crazy. The only thing that Vladimir Putin understands is peace through strength. Peace through strength. And while we are reducing defense
acquisition
spending,
through strength.
Pardon me?
Acquisition through strength.
Yeah. Yeah.
He believes that he uses his proximity geographically and troops on the border to...
Look, I'm not saying it's easy, and obviously... by the way, I wouldn't keep saying, "Don't worry, we're not going to have American boots on the ground." I'd let him figure it out. We're not, but I wouldn't keep saying it. But he's got to understand that there are all kinds of repercussions. We're the most powerful nation in the world by any measurement. Russia is a gas station masquerading as a country, and so for us to embark on short-term and long-term programs to make sure that Vladimir Putin knows that this kind of adventurism, there's a price for it sooner or later.
From my perspective, and I have the benefit of not being in the government, if there is evidence linking Russia to this, that should inspire the Europeans to do much more on 3 counts. 1, toughen their own sanctions, make it very clear there has to be a price to pay. Number 2, immediately accelerate efforts and announce they are doing so to find alternatives to Gazprom. Russia has not diversified its economy. It is still largely dependent upon natural resources, principally gas and oil. And thirdly, do more in concert with us to support the Ukrainians. There has to be more help on their borders in order to prevent this porous border, allowing Russians to go back and forth, insurgents to do the same. Do more to help their military obtain better equipment, better training. The Ukrainian military under Poroshenko has been much more focused and more successful, but nobody kids themselves. If Russia really keeps weighing in on behalf of the insurgents, there's a lot more that needs to be done. And to put Putin on notice that he has gone too far and we are not going to stand idly by.
Welcome back, both. Zbig, let me start with you. This is about as tense a situation. What can Washington or the world do to stop Putin from doing what Phil Black was suggesting, which is moving even further and actually moving Russian troops into Ukraine proper?
That prospect, in my view, is by far the more serious one, because in effect Putin has claimed the right to intervene in Ukraine itself, to intervene militarily by force. And the Crimean scenario may be a preview of what he's planning, namely that in some of the eastern regions of Ukraine, which are inhabited by Russian-speaking Ukrainians, some of whom are favorable to Moscow, riots could be staged, they could be provoked by Moscow, and then Russian troops would enter. And I think this is what we have to now deter, prevent, discourage. And it seems to me that we have to take a stand publicly, offering Russia some sort of participation.
The United States and the West are not going to send troops. How do we deter? How do we do what Zbig was talking about?
Well, I think we do have quite a few tools. The problem is how to use them all simultaneously. I do think that it is very important to try to de-escalate this. This is a very, very dangerous situation. The pictures you showed and the reporting shows how this is on a razor's edge, and I think that it could turn into a civil war. There are a lot of arms floating around Ukraine. People are, in fact, really not just demonstrating, but getting angrier and angrier.
Give me the money. Come on. Come on. Come on. Come on. Get that. Right. Get it. Come on. Go. No. Understand. Give me that.
Oh, sorry, man. You okay? Oh, I feel terrible. How much would
Oh, no, it's on me, sir.
Thank you very much. I bet you'd like an autograph, huh?
Whatever.
Yeah. I can't believe it's me either.
What I have to say is quite serious. And what I really want to say is, never in my life did I ever believe that our country would be taken over by people like the people who are running it at this day. And I think that when we have a leadership that thinks that the Constitution of the United States of America is a joke, when we have a president who has almost 1,000 executive orders now, when we have a Department of Justice that thinks that any kind of a judicial system that they make up as they're going along can get by with whatever they decide that they want to do. Like Ted Nugent said, you know, the Fast and the Furious. What's happened with the Fast and the Furious? What's happened with the truth about any of some of the greatest scandals in American history that have happened right before our eyes? If the truth about Benghazi were to come out now, I don't think that this man would make it through his term. I think he would be impeached. Yeah, America's a great country. It really is a great country because it's a country where we have designed a system based on the Constitution where we have freedom of speech, we're allowed to disagree and say what we want to say and should not be persecuted for it. But on the same token, those who have something to say that is too controversial really have to be very, very careful. I think right now we're at that sort of tipping point where whether you are a Democrat or a Republican, we have to realize that we have to put the parties aside and all to come together as Americans and realize we have to take this country back. Thank you. On the seventh hour, on the seventh day, on the seventh month, 7 doctors say I was born for good love, and that you gonna have to see. I got $700, baby. Ain't you gonna make me lose one, bro? Yo, he's here. Everybody knows I'm here. I'm a hoochie coochie man. Everybody knows I'm here.